Welcome to the Capoeira Experience podcast, where you are going to learn how capoeiristas got where they are, how they keep the motivation, why they do what they do, and even how they do business through capoeira. I hope you enjoy it and learn something from their experience. This episode is brought to you by Mazzuk.com, sports and performance psychology consulting and performance enhancement life coaching, a catalytic process for competent evolution focused on self-discovery and self-mastery. Stop playing small, you can be better. Visit Mazzuk.com for more information. Again, that's Mazzuk.com. What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast, where you learn more about our Capoeira community and where you can express your experience. Thank you so much for your support. It's a lot to me to stay motivated and to keep doing this. All right, so on today's episode, I get the pleasure to interview a capoeirista in Canada, from Canada. He's been doing capoeira since 2006, and he teaches in Calgary, Canada. Our friend from Calgary, Canada. I want to introduce you to Instructor Gigante. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, capoeira. That's what I love about our capoeira community. We can be together, even if we don't know each other. We can still come together.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So before we start jumping to the full interview and story and everything, what are your social media? So how people can find you?
Cool. Yeah, you can reach me at Gigante YYC. And then our group kind of Instagram is Calgary Capoeira. So you can find us there on Facebook and Instagram. So check it out.
Okay, nice. And okay, now let's start with tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to know about you. How do you start in capoeira and all stuff? You can start however you want.
All right. Well, like you said, I started Capoeira in 2006.
Okay.
And that's when I started training kind of regular and full on. But before that, I think one of the first times I was exposed to capoeira, I think I always knew about capoeira. It was that sort of breakdance fighting. Everyone
Yeah.
seems to know it like that before they actually do capoeira. So I kind of always was like knew about it, but I didn't really ever see it or kind of encounter it until one day I was in university in another town, and I came to Calgary to visit, and we went to the bar, and it was a nightclub, and on the dance floor it was crowded, and then the announcer, the DJ goes, "Hey, everyone, clear the floor, clear the floor. We have a performance coming up." I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" Everyone backs up. They kind of like push people aside to clear a big area, and then these breakdancers come out and they do a routine, and it's super cool, and everyone's like, "Yeah, this is cool."
Yeah.
And then they go back, and out of the side somebody comes doing backhand spring, backhand spring, backhand spring, flip,
Cool.
big flip, crowd goes crazy, and then suddenly everyone starts doing capoeira.
Oh,
and
cool.
and it was super cool. Like I said, I knew what it was right away. I was like, "That's capoeira, that's that thing." And but I couldn't tell you if I saw it here or there. But then when they started doing capoeira, I was like, that is so cool. And then they interacted with the b-boys and take turns. Okay, b-boys would do a thing, capoeira would come back, and
Oh,
then that was kind of it. And I was like, okay. So I remembered that, and it just so happened that that summer, I was going to Brazil.
okay.
So I was born in Brazil, in the Northeast, in Fortaleza, Ceará.
Okay. Nice.
But I left when I was really, really young. So my mom's side of the family, my mom is from there, and
That's really cool.
my brother and I were born in Fortaleza, and I mean my dad's from the States, and so when my brother was 3 and I was 6 months, we left to go back to the States, and then my dad got a job in British Columbia, which is in Canada, near Vancouver, I guess.
Okay.
And so pretty much I grew up there my whole life. So it's close to where I live now in Calgary, Alberta. And that's kind of like, I don't know, the long story.
Yeah.
But that summer that after I saw the capoeira in the nightclub, um, we we were going to Brazil as a family trip to see the family and stuff like that. And in the town that my mom is from, they had a Cordão de Ouro group with
Nice.
Mestre Tony and at the time I think it was Instructor Boji and now he's Contramestre Boji. Just awesome capoeira. I still follow him on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And
And
so we communicate
Mr.
every now and
Kurimin
again.
is from there, right? From Ceará. Is it Kurimin from there? From there? I don't remember.
I don't recognize that one, but I mean, there's a couple. There's a lot of capoeira there. It's I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, it's close. It's not a in the small towns. There's I think there's Ashe Capoeira, and then there's
Capoeira Brasil as well.
Cordão de Ouro. Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple groups, um, and so yeah, when I went to visit, uh, I think I mentioned I said yeah something about capoeira and how I kind of saw it in the nightclub. It was in my head since then. I was like always thinking about it when we were there. I was like I bet I could find a class, and
Yeah.
I asked some people and they say yeah okay. So we go over and we find these guys. So Instructor Boji at the time, he and a bunch of so he worked with the prefeituro, sort of city hall and like programs with kids and stuff, and
Yeah.
had all these kids in capoeira that they would go to this like grassy area and just jump by like do all these flips. And these kids were crazy. I mean, it's Cortán de Oro. They're
Yeah.
flexible. They're always doing crazy stuff.
That's
And so that summer, I would like learned a lot about a little bit about the language.
okay.
And that's something I'm still working on. I've got a little bit,
Yeah.
and then obviously with capoeira too. So I took some classes and whatnot.
And
And then when we
that was on 2004, right? I mean, I'm sorry, 2006.
That was yeah around 2004. Yeah, 2004 was that
Okay.
time. So I took it was like more hanging out with these guys and seeing what they did and trying
Gotcha.
to do a handstand and okay, then they kind of do a flip and I would run and just fall into it. So
Yeah.
we're trying a couple of things and I got a little like a few kind of lessons, but more just hanging out with these guys. And so again, it was just in my head. And then when I came back to Canada for school,
Yeah.
and I was finishing. I was living in this town not far from Calgary, and when I was there, I just Googled it. I had to kind of just see if they had capoeira in this town, and that I was going to school, and sure enough, there was a guy who was again at the time Instructor Mingao,
That's really cool.
and I believe he was in Cortán de Oro too, and he was. So this town that I was taking school in is like farming kind of area,
Okay.
and so this guy turns out, Soto Mingao was um, like a doctor of agricultural studies. But back in the day, he was training capoeira and still training capoeira. But he was just putting classes on at the YMCA. So once a week, I would take a bus all the way across town
Oh
and
man.
then do like a 1 hour class. And this town is like, like Calgary in Canada, it's cold all the time. And I remember waiting on the bus and like go to capoeira. And it's a 1 hour class. You wait all week.
That's so
And then
good.
one
That's
day it
pretty
was
cool
so
though.
cold. Yeah. So that was kind of my first encounter with capoeira. And that was like, now we're in 2005. And then, so he put on classes once a week. He was just super cool guy and taught, kind of some
Yeah.
basics and fundamentals, and then I finished school, and then at this time then I was moving to Calgary and got my job and like had a place to live and all this, and then and it was one of the first things that I did. I was like, I got there, I like set up my internet, like unpacked my stuff, and then I go Google like capoeira in Calgary,
Nice.
and then I found the one group. There are a couple groups kind of show up, and I click one, and I go to the phone number, and I call. And to this day, the person I spoke to was who's now in Moneto. So he's who we train with in our group, and he answered the phone, and I said, "Hey, I'm interested in taking capoeira. I noticed there's a couple other groups in town. Can you tell me about your group and what the difference is in this and that?" And I
Nice.
couldn't tell you what exactly he said, but he was so passionate about it
Yeah.
that I was like, this is the one. This is the group for me,
Nice.
because
Nice.
he kind of said all the things that we love about capoeira. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly what, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
He
remember
he
being
sold you
such.
the idea that
He
of
sold it. Yeah, he's a
yeah.
sales.
Nice.
So,
That's
and
really
it's
cool.
hilarious to think all the way back to 2006 that now we're still training together, and that's just what capoeira is. It's a
Yeah.
community of passionate people, you know?
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, we bring the warmth to the hot, and just like try to bring people together is pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it started in 2006 with, at the time it was Instructor Sapu, Capoeira
Okay,
Caminhada.
okay,
And so we trained there with him, and he moved to a different city and recommended another Brazilian teacher that we train with. And we trained, continued training until now, basically. And,
okay,
you know, for a couple of reasons, we now started a group called Capoeira Collective,
okay,
and that's where we're teaching class and training. And there's another Instrutor Espelho, Monitor Sorriso, that I was telling you about, Monitor Paraíba, and a whole
okay.
bunch of students that we're training in Calgary, teaching kids class, beginner adults class, and all levels adults class, and that's where we are right now.
Nice, nice, nice. And
Yeah.
you said that when we were talking before that it's just a transition right now, right?
Yeah, so Capoeira Collective is sort of a transition phase for us. It's not like official group; it's just the
Cool.
name of the place where that we're training right now.
Nice, nice. And now why Gigante? Why they push you Gigante?
So yeah, at the time Instructor Sapo looked at me. He says, "I think I have the name for you." And then he kind of like, I was like, "Okay, what is this?" And I've heard stories. I was like, "Oh man, like hopefully it's not like embarrassing or something, because you hear stories about people that get a name and
They
you
don't
have to
like it.
live with it,
Yeah,
right?"
sometimes. Yeah.
So, he's on the other side of the room and he kind of like goes like this. He's like, and I was like, and he's like,
Pointing on me.
Gigante. He just kind of like raising his hand. I was like,
Yeah.
Gigante. I think I know what that means. And yeah, so I was like, that's cool. Cause I'm tall, I guess, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm 6'3". So I guess, you know, in some capoeira rodas, it's a little tricky to fit.
Dude,
But
I'm gonna feel like a midget, man. I'm 5'6".
but I mean, there's taller, bigger dudes than me for sure. I mean,
Oh yeah,
my
oh yeah,
brother,
that's for sure.
Pernalonga, he's 6'5", and then so anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. And and it's funny because when I've gone to different cities and stuff, like I forget where I was, but I was meeting some new people and I'm shaking hands. And, oh, Sal, you know, what's your name? I say, oh, Gigante. And this one guy just looks at me. He's like, you're not that big. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, sure,
Oh,
there's
what
some
is my
bigger
name,
dudes
man?
than me. That's my name. So
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
yeah, yeah. That's funny,
Because
man.
yeah, sometimes it's like you get the name and people maybe then think that you gave yourself the name somehow. Yeah, like I'm, you know, whatever. And I guess, hey, I just got the name. That's me, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And so I've been following you on Instagram, and I see that I've seen some of your videos where you are pretty cool florejos and all the stuff,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
good, pretty cool acrobatic movements. You are pretty flexible,
Mm.
and at least more than me, that's for sure. And how do you have any kind of like training routine? Like how do you train your to get that flexible?
I mean, I started doing stuff. I wasn't even young when I was doing it. Like, I started working out when I was like 15. I would
Mm,
go to the gym, like, but I was never like full on. Like, I never got like, "Rah," you know. But I would go to the gym for fitness, and then since I was somewhat, you know, young, and then I started capoeira when I was, I mean, 2006. I
okay.
was 20, 22. I have to
Okay.
think about that, but I wasn't, you know, like some people start when they're like 10 or 15
Yeah.
or 20 or whatever. And okay, so I started at that time, but I always just had routines for myself, even
Nice.
before capoeira, where I would do like sit-ups and crunches before bed, and you know, like, and work out, and include stretches and stuff in my workout. And I
Nice.
kind of did a little bit of yoga here and there. And the stuff from yoga that I kind of kept was the back bends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of have a habit to always, you know, try to stretch. Again, it comes and goes. Sometimes I'm on the ball for sure every day. I'm stretching, and other times there's a couple
Yeah.
days between, maybe a few times this week. But you know, I try to, especially now that you know, I try to really kind of to keep track of it and say, okay, like I'm gonna stretch, and I have a routine where I'll do paunchy, and then I'll do paunchy
Nice.
where I lift one leg, and some days I just maintain, and other days you try to push. So
Yeah.
whether it's for paunchy and flexibility, but also kind of weights and like some gymnastics kind of training. Um, I guess a few years ago, the other thing I started doing was when I started my Instagram account,
Okay.
um, I did it so that I guess for two reasons. Like I'm kind of a geek. I do websites, I do graphic design. That's what I do for work.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I always like doing editing videos and stuff like that too. And
Yeah.
so then with the iPhone, I would like film. I have a little tripod, and I kind of liked doing little sequences in front. And I thought, you know what, if I create a little blog kind of thing, maybe then I'll get to be the do the video stuff that I kind of
Yeah.
always enjoy, but obviously also do capoeira. And it's like another, I wouldn't say it's like another day of training, but it's kind of like extra training that, okay, now if, similar to you with the podcast, you were saying you want to have a schedule of
Yeah.
releasing a podcast. I find that sometimes almost like having an audience that, I don't know, maybe they don't care, but if I say I'm going to post once a week, then you're kind of accountable to someone besides yourself. It's always easy to say,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
today I'm not going to do it, but man, did I do my video today? Oh, okay. Like I'm going to go
Yeah.
and film something. Maybe
Yeah.
it's going to be just a small Benguela sequence because I'm not feeling it today, but then you post something. And then pretty soon you can't stop thinking about it. And then all this stuff that you do for stretching and sequences and capoeira, then you try to like blend it together. And in my case, I found a lot of motivation from kind of always creating something
Yeah.
to post, even though it's kind of like I'm posting for people. I'm doing a lot of that for myself,
Yeah.
um, kind of for a little bit of extra training. And then
That's
it's
pretty
cool
cool
because
though.
then we meet people like like if you
Yeah.
start posting videos and someone likes that, and from someone from Russia or US and stuff like that, like your videos, comment, oh, that's cool. And then you're like, oh, who said that? I'm going to go to their
Yeah.
page. You kind of like make an Instagram friend or like a,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
friend or something. So it's pretty cool.
That's nice. So you training right now at least twice per week? At
Yeah.
least,
So,
at least. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So right now we have 2 days a week, and
Nice.
that we train, um, and on those 2 days, so on right now it's Mondays and Thursdays, I teach two kids class, then our class. So I put it all into those days, and that's because it kind of works with the schedule. It makes for a very kind of long night sometimes, but
Yeah.
on Mondays I teach a kids class that's 4 to 6 years old. So they're just
Nice.
little kids, and that's in a community hall near my house. And then as soon as that class is done, then there is a 6 to 12-year-old kids
Yeah.
class. So I
Oh,
split it because a few years ago when I started teaching kids, we just had one kids class, but then more kids came, and suddenly there was 11-year-olds and then 4-year-olds, and it's kind of like uh, it's sometimes difficult to engage the older kids while showing basics to the beginner kids.
yeah, yeah, because they get all distracted.
Yeah, you can't push the older kids. You want to push those kids, but then you show something advanced, and then
The other
this
one, you already lost the other
running
one.
around. Yeah, they're gone. They're running around. They're crying. Something's happening. So I kept the kids class together for a long time until it got big enough that okay, let's split it, and then I could kind of focus more on each one. And so
Yeah.
I have those classes back to back on Monday, and then I go out to do our class, the adults all level, and then on Thursdays. Again, some of those kids grew up, so now they're teenagers, and so then I
That's cool.
started a teenage slash adult beginner class, and after
Nice.
that is our class. So it's kind of like 5 classes a week, but they're all
That's really
concentrated
cool.
in 2 days. And
That's
then
pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah,
the in Anna. So how many adults do you have? Like, are you like growing your class with the adults?
yeah. So right now we have, I mean, I would, you tell me if it's the same for you, but you could say, let's say we have between, let's say 10 and 14 adult
Okay.
students,
Okay.
and
That's really cool though.
usually the people that show up are, let's say, between you know
Oh, I see
five
what you
and
mean. Yeah.
seven at a time.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have 4 people, sometimes you have 8 people.
Yeah.
When it was my birthday holiday the other day, we had like I would say 10 or 11 of our students there. And
Oh,
we
that's
had
pretty cool.
another group that we're friends with in town here, Ashe, Brazil Capoeira.
Nice.
They came and they brought, 10 students. And then I also brought
Oh,
some of the kids. So it added to it. And those are really fun events because I'm not going to lie, right now in Calgary, like today was the first day that it was only -10 Celsius.
oh,
And
Jesus.
it's been -30, -20 for the last like month. February was terrible.
Oh man, no.
But and
I
and
feel you
and
though.
yeah, so like sometimes that affects the energy of
Yeah,
people just wanting to
yeah,
come to class, and it sucks, but it's also life, and I understand too. So like now that we're kind of getting out of the cold snap, I think that when we have events like that, people get excited,
yeah.
and I know that it was good energy to have everyone there, and it comes and goes, but yeah, we'd probably have between 10 and 14 adult students,
That's pretty
had
cool.
like 10 to 14 kid students as well of those different age groups. And then again, that sometimes goes a little bigger and smaller and stuff like that. Um, but then, yeah, we're starting to, as of the time that we're recording this, the
Yeah,
website's in progress, but it should be done this weekend. So maybe by the time
nice.
the video is out, then you can go to our website, and that's where we want to start growing,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah, start creating a presence, like online presence.
yeah, yeah,
That's
because
cool. That's cool.
we've had some stuff like I'm doing my blog and whatnot for capoeira videos and stuff, but to create the website and the social media for the capoeira collective, so people can
Nice.
see what the group is about, and and that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, especially now with everything is online, it's better to have a online presence so people at least can find you.
Hmm.
Yeah, and speaking about like online stuff, how or like social media advertising those kind of stuff, how do you advertise your class?
So, like I said, right now we don't have too much of a presence because we're still finishing building it. But the
Yeah,
plan is once the website is online. Again, what I do for work is outside of capoeira is like my main kind of job in business is building websites and doing graphic design.
that's awesome.
So I plan to get some Facebook and Instagram paid ads
Yeah,
to create videos and post. And then nowadays, for people to see your business, you have to like pay money to boost the post or
yeah,
whatever, right?
yeah,
Like that's one of the plans to hopefully get people, because everyone's on their phone scrolling, and hopefully then they see, oh, what's this cool video or
yeah,
picture of capoeira. That's part of the plan. Once the website is online, that's where then we can hand out cards and put up posters in the studio that we train out of. Is somebody else's studio that does physiotherapy and movement,
okay,
kind of strength training and stuff.
okay,
And then the other one is a community hall. So if we put posters up and that kind of thing, it's the beginning of our marketing strategy.
yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool because the it's really cool that you work with the graphic design too, because I do graphic designs too.
Cool.
I did graphic design for about 2 years back in Venezuela,
Yeah.
and very basic like the poster. This poster right here, yeah, I made that poster. Super
Yeah. Nice.
excited, yeah, because same thing. I start putting like everywhere. Here we have the option like some restaurants let you like put it on the windows and all that, and when people are waiting, they can see and all
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
And that's what I'm doing right now as a marketing, because
Nice.
I haven't worked yet on the ads for Instagram and Facebook, which I will. Uh, but I want the local people here first, at least,
Yeah,
like
for
old
sure.
school first. But eventually, I will. And that's awesome that you you understand the marketing part of the of any kind of business. At the end of the day, capoeira is part of a business too. Even if
Sure.
you wanna put it out there to people.
No, I believe that a lot because, like I said, my passion besides capoeira is doing this kind of stuff. Like the company that I work that I do my graphic design is the company I started doing web and graphic design because I was always so interested in that stuff, just kind of as a hobby, and then I made it, my work. So that's kind of my career,
Nice.
and then as we have done events and stuff in the past, uh, and then maybe I can't help it, but when I see other capoeira groups advertise for their events, you can start to see, okay, they're doing something that's working. Uh, this one looks like somebody in the group was a graphic designer and it's really
Yeah,
high quality, or the photo looks really good. Because at the end of the day, capoeira is the art form and it's got the integrity that we want to maintain.
yeah,
But
exactly.
in this day and age, to grow a group, I believe you need to have, um, a strong presence with that stuff.
Yeah,
And I don't think it takes away from it, because the people that show up that want to do capoeira, um, they're the ones that, you're going to teach and train and based on their interest and stuff. And if maybe they just want to do fitness, like maybe they'll only ever stay in the beginner class,
yeah,
and that kind of thing. And not that that's wrong, in my opinion. I think that
yeah,
there's kind of the people that want to take capoeira to be their life, and
yeah,
maybe like us right now, like we devote a lot of energy
yeah,
and we want to build this community, and so this is kind of, and it wasn't always like that when I started capoeira. I thought, oh, this
yeah,
is a
yeah.
cool
Same.
thing that's good for
Yeah,
fitness, and then eventually you're like, I really like the people that I'm around, and then pretty soon, like my
you
best
like
friends are in capoeira,
every
and
single day in capoeira.
yeah, after a
Yeah,
while, just capoeira calls you and becomes a part of your life
yeah,
if you let it, because I've seen people come and go, and I think it's capoeira has a place for everybody, and if you give it your best shot and you give it
oh,
your
that's
energy, then it will you'll see where it takes you. And for me,
yeah,
I've liked it because it's allowed me to meet so many cool people, like
yeah,
yourself. And this
yeah.
is just
Thanks.
because we follow each other's Instagram and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But I love to see what you're up to, and um, you know, to challenge ourselves to play music and try acrobatic. Like it's just so cool to be a part of a community that's now like all over the world.
yeah,
And even though there's different groups, like you can be friends with all these people and go to their events and learn from them, and then have a reason to kind of go and travel and grow and everything. So it's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Cause like same with me. Cause when I started capoeira, I wanted to learn all those backflips and all those cartwheels and backflips and him back spring stuff and in the handstands and all that and macaco when I saw because the first capoeira movement that I saw was a macaco
Nice.
and I was like, man, I would really want to learn that. And then actually I remember on the paper when they like to sign up for the class, they
Mm.
asked like, what do you like about capoeira? Then I was like, all the karate movements, and yeah, and man, now that you say that, like, brings me back to that. Like that's actually true. Like I actually came to capoeira is to learn the backflips and all this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
then now, dude, like after all these years, like man, I don't even know what I really, really, really like. I like everything.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, getting exposure to all those different things. Yeah, because I think that there's still, now with the kids class, and some of the kids are
Yeah,
like, when are we going to do the macaco? I want to learn a really hard movement.
yeah,
And to me, I'm like, I remember that, so let's do it. Okay. Or
yeah, yeah.
sometimes, hey, like we got to do that next week because today we got to learn a new song. Like capoeira is not just about this or that. And so try to balance, because you want to keep, especially the kids, you want to keep them interested, but
Oh
you
yeah,
also want to show the importance of capoeira in all the different things. So that's and I think as I've grown, for sure, you kind of, maybe you still have things you want to work on and stuff, but it's like everything that you want to,
yeah,
okay, now it's time to learn a new song. Oh, that song is so cool. Okay, now um you know now I want to, learn that new flip, or how can I tie this movement like macaco into something else, and like
yeah,
just combining everything. But
yeah.
um it was funny, yeah, to think back to when it started and just think like, I just want to do this one move, malandro. I want to get that like macaco. That was like, those are milestones. And then,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Since we already went over that part of like what do you like about capoeira and all stuff, and what do you think capoeira like help you as a person? Like you can say like, okay, capoeira helped me to develop this on me. Like for example, let me give you an example so I can guide you. Like for example, when I was a kid, I was extremely introvert, and capoeira helped me to get out of the shell. And man, right now I'm doing a podcast, and you know what I mean. I'm talking to people,
That's awesome.
and that what do you think capoeira like break that shell?
I mean, a lot of things for sure. If I really think about one thing right off the top of my head, it's like I said, I'm from Brazil. I was born in Brazil. My mom's side of the family is from there. But to be honest, I grew up in Canada. So, like, you know, um, being half Brazilian, half American, living in Canada, like, um, I was growing up in Canada basically like a Canadian, like I have my
Yeah,
friends here and we watch the same TV shows and we listen to music and I learned snowboarding and like before capoeira, that was like huge what I was into snowboarding.
nice.
And when I was a teenager and had nothing better to do,
Okay,
so
you are running snow the whole time. What else can you do?
exactly. If you can't beat it, you got to join them. So,
Yeah,
um,
nice.
so then one thing I've really liked about capoeira since I started was it's kind of like tapping back into that side of sort of where I'm from.
Nice.
So it was, we'd go on family trips honestly, it's expensive. We only went like to Brazil once every 5 years. So I think I've been to Brazil like, you know, six, no, eight, seven, 8 times
Nice.
for a
Oh,
few
that's really
weeks
cool.
at a
Yeah,
time. And I mean, compared to maybe someone who's like never been to Brazil before, but
yeah,
compared to being born in a place and only going there for a
yeah,
few weeks a couple times in your life,
yeah.
um, there
Especially
was
Ceará, because Ceará is one of the cities I want to go more the most. Because plus my master
oh
is from
really?
there too. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
yeah. Mr. Kim,
Cool.
do you ever met Mr. Kim?
No.
No, with the Capoeira Brasil,
Okay.
yeah. Mr. Paulão, do you met Mr. Paulão before?
I've never met those guys. No.
No, like Mr. Paul, the one of the founders of Capoeira Brasil is Mr. Paulão do Ceará, and it's
Yeah.
because he's from Ceará, and
Oh, that's so cool.
one of his older students, Mr. Kim, and he's my master.
Okay, right on. Yeah, I had no idea. So next time I go, I'll have to make sure to check them
Yeah,
out for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Just let
Yeah.
me know, and I can text my master and be like, "Hey, man, like, plus I have a very good friend of mine that lives there. He grew
Mhm.
up pretty much with me, and
Yeah.
you just can let me know and be like, hey, like I'm going to Ceará, like hook me up with someone there,
For
someone there, and
sure.
I can tell Picapao is his name.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, this is what I love about capoeira. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
you're going to this place. I know this guy. He's awesome. Call
yeah,
him, and then, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
um, so yeah, I guess sort of back to answer your question. I think
Yeah,
being kind of like a part of that upbringing, but at the same time, only every now and again, every couple years, go there. And mom's always listening to music, and
nice.
if she's talking to her friend on the phone, or my mom and my dad, they obviously talk fluent Portuguese to each other,
That's
and
really
uh,
cool.
and that kind of thing. So I always had it in my life, but then since I had capoeira, now when I'm learning a song, I'm like, now I like try to translate. And then when I meet more people and some masters and teachers, they only know Portuguese or maybe their English isn't so good. And so now I'm kind of like, okay, I want to learn. And so, of course, you get Duolingo and stuff
Yeah,
and whatnot, and like Rosetta Stone to learn more. But I feel even more motivated to learn more about not just the language, but
nice.
just a little bit more about that kind of stuff because
Yeah,
that's kind of in my culture that for a long time was
yeah,
not something that I was super engaged in because
yeah.
we are
But
living in Canada and
yeah, at the end
and
of the
you're
day,
based
that's
here.
part of you. Is a part of like who you are.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, it's cool to have something that that you can learn about that kind of teaches, I guess, a little bit about that a little more. So I really like what capoeira has, because I could have done that without capoeira, I guess, but it kind of this made it more of a priority because to be good with capoeira and to be a part of that community, it's
yeah,
important to know the story, not just do the backflips and
yeah,
that kind of thing, and even singing the songs and stuff. But what do those songs mean, and why is this word, or like, um, just different sayings that don't make sense if you translate, like what is the significance of that. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
to go there and talk to people and caporistas from there or here,
yeah,
it's super interesting, but it's also, I feel like, more and more important to kind of like know more about that. So I think that
yeah,
capoeira has kind of done that for me. And and the obvious benefits of, like, I don't know, being a kid and like not having your priorities together, really. You're just kind of going day by day with like work and, okay,
yeah,
now let's go hang out with friends and like this, that, and the other. um but one thing I found was, if, I don't know, let's say even after capoeira we go party or something, you go
yeah,
to the bar after, and then you go train on Monday, then I was like, oh, I don't feel like, because I was up late on the weekend or whatever, I
yeah,
don't feel like I can push myself as hard. And oh man, and by the time, Wednesday class, Thursday, Friday, whatever, I'm feeling good and stuff like that. And then I go out and I party and I stay up late again. And I was like, oh man, this is kind of like, it's not, I want to do more capoeira and more capoeira. So then I start to, you know, uh, take these other things out of my life that
yeah,
aren't as healthy for you, because you want to. And that was almost subconscious, because I didn't even notice, really. I was just like, I feel like I can do more with capoeira if I'm not doing this other stuff, so maybe I'll slow that down. And then I
yeah,
noticed that it just becomes a priority. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
when people are uh, when people are wanting to go out or this or that, you kind of just take it a little more easy, or because you know that the next day you want to train, and that's a
yeah.
priority. It's like, uh, it's cool to have something kind of become a part of your life that you look forward to doing, and want to do it good. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Plus, once like you grow up with your friends and you wanna stay longer to like do moves and those kind of stuff, then you're gonna like, oh
uh,
man, I'm tired. I just wanna go home.
yeah,
Yeah,
as opposed to, other stuff. And I've seen it with other students too. So I've seen students that, you see them like, uh, party hard, or they like maybe were into bad stuff.
yeah,
And then you see how capoeira has sort of like, it's not like capoeira changed them, but it's them recognizing, like, if I want to get good at this, I've got to spend time on it. And so I'm going to take less time doing maybe these other things that are unhealthy and bad
yeah,
in my life, and then dedicate to there. And before you know it, all your friends are in capoeira, and all the people in capoeira are, if they're going to stay late in class, it's to practice a move or do something, and sort of like be healthy and kind of grow in capoeira, as opposed to other things. So I
yeah,
noticed that
exactly.
there were people that I did capoeira with, and I saw the positive influence on them as well as myself. And I think that's really cool
Yeah,
to just see how it
to
changes.
see a change on others.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and now that you mentioned that, actually leads perfectly to the next question. What do you like about teaching, since you see that transformation on people, and how capoeira can help others, and as same like help like capoeira help you, and how what do you like about teaching? Like you said, like, oh man, I really like this.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things for sure. Like, I think one of the big ones is seeing how what you do is gets a positive impact in somebody else's life, you know?
Yeah,
Um, so like, if somebody comes to class in a bad mood, they leave in a good mood. That
yeah,
happens to me all the time. And if I force myself to go, then I come out feeling good. For somebody to say, like, I'll never be able to do that, and then after a while, then they do it, and then they know that, like, all I have to do is try, and then you feel good that you were able to help somebody get there, because maybe they just wouldn't have kept going if there was no, influence to sort of positive reinforcement kind of thing.
yeah,
um, and then I have my niece who is in capoeira. She's in our teenage class. So
nice.
she started in the kids class, and now she's in our teenage class. And to see how, with the kids, to see how even the parents too, they're just such a part of the community when
Yeah,
there's an event, and all the parents come together, And if you ask for one little thing, like they then bring all the bottles of water or like food, or
Nice.
they're like helping organize and they're just running with it. And you're like, this is so cool. Like it's, to see how it's affecting families for the better, like in good, like these families are now friends with each other because every time they come to class, they see, their friends that they have from capoeira. So
Yeah,
so how capoeira brings these people together, and
that's awesome.
especially for kids to give like a focus, like instead of kind of just going to school and coming home, like go to school. And this kid, now I'm a capoeirista, so I've got to go do
Yeah,
that. And so to, I don't know, feel like maybe, and I've even said, like, I said, listen, if you get bored with capoeira as a kid, if you don't want to keep doing this forever, like the important thing is whatever you do it with integrity. Like you mean
yeah,
it. Because if you just show up and you kind of like don't try, it doesn't matter if you leave capoeira. If you go and do something else with that kind of same idea, then you're not going to go very
you're gonna
far no
fail.
matter
Yeah,
what. So I like to try to push, obviously still have fun, especially with the kids and stuff, but kind of push that because to me that's important, and that will carry you in life no matter
yeah,
what you do. Is if you try something and try hard and ask questions and take criticism and push yourself and do it at home outside of capoeira, then all of these things are just going to make you a better person. Whether it's in capoeira or business or like
yeah,
your relationship or in
yeah,
life,
yeah,
like
for
in
sure.
whatever you do. So
Yeah, yeah, because at the end of the day, if you don't commit, because I usually at the end of my classes, I talk about core values with my kids, and
mm,
same thing I teach. I talk to them like, hey, like doesn't matter what you do out of here, even if it's capoeira or if it's like with your mom or like anything on life. Like you are younger, you have a lot of stuff to see in your path, and like if you
mhm.
don't commit to that, like it's not gonna be good for you. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta commit and be self confident with the stuff that you do.
Yeah, it's like applies to everything.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so I like I like that because maybe sometimes I remember back to when I was a kid and the positive influences in my life kind of maybe didn't say that exactly, but now that I think about it, I feel like that uh, idea, it was a part of that. It was a part of my upbringing, and it.
Yeah,
I like to think that was a good part of my upbringing. So trying to kind of put that back with the kids and with the other
yeah,
adults, like that's a real important thing to me because I know that
yeah,
it helped me a lot growing up. So
yeah, yeah. Especially like give it back to the community and trying to like give back to community
yeah,
what capoeira have to give you.
yeah, 100%. Because again, I went there not knowing anyone in Capoeira personally. There was no like my friend wasn't there. Like I just showed up because I saw the nightclub thing. I took a few
Nice.
classes. I was like, I just want to do this cool thing. I want to do some flips. I want to see
That's really cool.
like just it looks super cool and I want to be a part of that. And then before you know it, you see that now your friends are in Capoeira and this is a big
Yeah,
community, and it wouldn't be like that if it wasn't a community. If it was a bunch of people going and just doing it for themselves, it wouldn't be the same thing as what it is. So I think teaching class in that sort of way is important to create that community, and that's, I think, super important.
that's awesome.
And it's really positive. Yeah, it's great to
Yeah,
see when there is an event or a hada, like a birthday hada or what have you, and everyone shows up and everyone's so excited.
nice.
So like this Christmas, we had a Christmas hada before the end of
Okay.
the year, last class of the year, and we did the Chiku Chiku game where you get the little. We wrapped candies in like a little tissue paper with a bow,
Okay.
and then
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
you do the hada, and then you go in, and I said, listen to the kids, like this is the
Yeah.
special kind of event of the year, like last class of the year. I said we're gonna play Chiku Chiku where the kids go in and play capoeira, but try to
Try to pick
catch
the thing.
the
Yeah.
thing with the mouth, kind of like. And I said, but guys, don't go in and just grab it right away. You want to play
Yeah.
the game,
Yeah.
develop the game, and this is fun. And to my surprise, they didn't go in and just grab it and like win, but they kind of took their
Nice.
time. So they listened, and then I remember all the just everyone was super excited, and like
Yeah.
it felt it felt really cool to sort of end the year like that and have everyone there, and um and have everyone have a real good time.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's good that you mentioned about the community, because you we were talking about this before, like the capoeira community there in Calgary is pretty well connected, right? Is pretty good, and I love that about the community. Whenever it's like capoeira close and like different groups, or like whoever is teaching different classes, and at the end of the day, the city or whatever state comes together to like have fun together. Like how do you see, or how what do you like about the capoeira community there in Calgary?
So you interviewed Instructor Suasuna from
Yeah,
Ashe Brazil
yeah, yeah,
in one of your last couple episodes,
yeah. Shoot
and
out to
he's
instructor.
yeah, so
Sua, yeah.
so yeah, he's a good friend of mine that I met through capoeira, and like any relationship you make in capoeira, like he's now a good friend of mine in life,
Nice.
and so and Professor Manteiga, they run and teach the group here in Calgary for Ashe Brazil, and um, and like I was saying before we started recording here, I had my birthday hada
Yeah,
a few weeks ago, and so I got some of my kids' class to come, and I told everybody, "Hey, it's cold, but it's my birthday, so let's come do class." And like a lot of people came, and some of them brought friends, and
nice.
then also Ashe Brazil from Calgary here
Yeah,
came,
yeah.
and um, yeah, we took some pictures. We had a hada. It was real nice. It was
That's pretty
so
cool.
so cool. Like I thought about, I was like, that's what I want for my birthday. I want to have
Yeah,
like all my friends
nice,
together,
nice.
and and I got what I was after, because Sua and Mantega, they all showed up with all their students and just great energy,
That's so cool.
and so that was a really good hada. And in the past, then a few weeks before that, Strata Sua had Strata Samurai from Ashe Brazil, their group in Vancouver, in a different
Yeah,
city. He brought him to teach workshops, so we went and we took workshop, did the Hada, and in Edmonton, which is about 3 hours north from here, there is Contramestre Heni from Associação de Mestre Bimba,
nice.
and they are a group that we reach out to if um, you know we want to have a workshop for capoeira, for music, for dance, that they come and teach. And then of course there's a hada and
Yeah,
socialization after, hanging out and whatnot. And so yeah, these guys are close to us here in Calgary, and we try to either just do events or help out with a demo, or again, if there's a bigger thing like a batizado or an encontro or like an event of some kind,
yeah,
um, we go out of our way to try to be a part of that, because uh,
yeah. Support each other.
yeah, because I mean, in Calgary, in Canada, in Alberta, which is a province, here that we're in, it's really big, and there's not too many cities.
Oh,
Like
okay.
if if you're in Europe and you drive from Calgary to Edmonton, you could be in like two different countries. Like
Yeah, that's true.
compared
Yeah,
to here, you're like barely halfway up the province, and it's like forever just driving in a straight line. Like so the groups that are here are really important to try to maintain a good relationship
yeah, of
with.
course.
And so if they say,
Makes
hey, we're
sense.
having our batizado, or Sua says, hey, like I'm bringing a teacher up, and it's just for a little weekend workshop, and then we're like, hey, we're there for sure. And then
Yeah,
when we do the same thing, my birthday, whatever, like, okay, I'm going to invite everybody, because it's important to maintain that, so that it's always this positive thing that grows.
yeah,
And then even if it's different groups, like it's as long as everyone gets along and comes with good attitude, like it's positive energy, and it just builds so much. It's such a good hada, such a good event if
yeah,
your friends come and they
yeah.
bring
Oh,
lots
for
of people.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I always say that, like, uh, uh, more people that capoeira have is much better. This is more energy. So it's like everyone is a lot of people putting more energy into the hard, and is
Mhm.
the feeling is way much better.
Yeah, you just can't get tired if there's a ton of people, and it just, yeah, there's nothing beats a big holiday with lots of people.
Oh
You
yeah,
just
yeah,
don't want it to stop.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Like it's like you can go on and on and on and just play, and just like you can be there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And uh, do you have any events coming up, or like any workshop? Are you planning any workshop on your school, any class?
We have some. Stay tuned.
Okay.
We have plans, but nothing official. So
Cool.
we'll post it on our Instagram and our website and stuff. It's important for sure to, like I said, once we kind of get our community growing and stuff like that,
Nice.
and visit other events, we want to travel. And I tell my students and whatnot to, like, let's plan to go to this event and let's go
Nice.
visit that person. And we plan to invite some people to come and put on workshops so that we can sort of be a part of the again, like in other places that there's more capoeira close together.
Okay.
We have to bring that capoeira to us, and
Okay.
so it's important for us to plan that. And we'll post some information as soon as we
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of confirm some things. So yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. You just let me know, and I can post on the once this is up, I can post it there.
Awesome. That would be
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Like that. That way, people can spread the word, and people, another people from, if they are probably like doing capoeira pretty close to Canada or on Canada, whatever, and they can try to like go there and like support the community.
Yeah, 100%. If anyone's ever in Calgary and wants to reach out, Stratosua, reach out to me. And I bet if you reach out to one or the other, I'll let the other person know, and we'll have an event
Nice.
just for you guys. Like if somebody's
Yeah.
in town, we'll all try to get together to make something happen for sure.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, and try to make a bigger, be bigger hotel, and that like have fun all together.
Yeah, for sure.
You said we talk about before the I remember before we started recording everything. You mentioned your kind of like made your wife and in the capoeira community too, right? Like how did that
Yeah.
happen?
So
How that relationship started?
yeah, I met my wife, Becetta, in Capoeira. So we trained for a little while at the same academy. Back in 2006 or 2007. And she always tells the story that she didn't know my actual name. She just knew me as Gigante for years,
Nice.
like didn't know that my name was Frank. Like,
Yeah.
so she, I kind of was introduced, and, time went on, so we got to know her and a lot of the other students when I started Capoeira. And she went away for school. And when she came back from school for capoeira, then we got sort of reintroduced. We always say that we re-met in capoeira, um,
Nice.
and always remembered that sort of re-meeting, and thinking like that it was so funny that sort of I met my wife in capoeira.
Yeah. And then from there, do you remember the year?
The year that we kind of got
Like
together.
when you met and all the stuff, kind of like started interacting and all that part.
Yeah. So when we sort of remet, and sort of I believe that was 2000, and I want to get this right in case she listens to the episode, but I think it was 2009.
Okay.
And um and then you know everything
Yeah,
sort of
from there.
kind of went from there. We got married in 2011, and
Cool.
kind of been going strong ever since. So when Steph, my wife, started training capoeira, she originally had trained with Ache Brazil.
Oh,
And
cool.
so when
Okay.
she got back into capoeira in 2000, when she in 2009, 2008, 2009, when she kind of came back from her break from school, from training, she got back. She went to Ache Brazil, and I was training with a different group. And so, um, we both had capoeira in our lives,
Yeah,
but we were in different groups. And I think that some people will always joke and ask, and they say, "How does that work?" Uh,
because you're
you
in
know,
different group.
because we're in different groups.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they say, you know, does that ever create a problem? And I said, you know, no problem. In fact, for us, I think it's in a way, like I could see it working. Obviously, like if we
yeah,
were in
yeah,
the same group, but at the same time, because we're in the situation that we are, it kind of works for us. Like
yeah.
she goes to train, and then I go to train to a different place. She'll drop me off, pick up. we'll talk about capoeira in the car on the
That's
way
so
to
cool.
class,
You're
on the
like,
way
oh, I
from
learned
class.
today or whatever.
Yeah, I learned this thing. What are you
Yeah,
doing? And then you just kind of, and then she is training with the group with my good friend
yeah,
Sotasua of Samantega. So it's cool when we do get together. It's even more of a connection, like we're
yeah,
all good friends and stuff like that. But obviously when her group is having an event, I'm there, and when we have an event, like I'm there, she comes and brings her group, and
yeah.
it's like it just makes the connection even stronger, I think,
Stronger. Yeah, yeah. I was about to say that too.
because there's a lot of couples that I have met that are in the same group, and people are dating or people are married, and 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 uh and I like to see that kind of thing, because it's like, you kind of grow up in this art form, and sort of build the community, like we keep saying. I think that's
Yeah,
really important. But you know community to me is kind of family, and
yeah,
and
yeah. Exactly. No,
and so I
it's
think that was
cool that like that thing on like you both are different groups and still together because it usually happens like, oh no, you're at that group or whatever, you know what I mean? Or sometimes it's like a little difference or not. So I think it's awesome that either even the community bring you together, and you as a couple brings you keeps the community together too. You know?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I've heard that too, and I guess it's just kind of like anything's possible, and it's life, right? If it's kind of meant to be, then something like different groups shouldn't stand in the way, and in fact, it, I
Yeah,
think, helps bring those groups together, because
yeah,
now there's a
exactly.
reason, and it just kind of goes to show that, um, in capoeira communities, different groups, even if it's different groups, different philosophies, and different chords and stuff like that, like it should, um,
It
work
should
to
affect the
create the
relationship.
community. Yeah, it shouldn't affect something kind of in the personal. I think it should just grow.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's obviously brought our relationship closer together, doing capoeira together and being able to talk about that kind of stuff, but also brings the community of like our groups together. So I like
That's dope.
how it does those things for my life, and
Yeah,
I guess, I
because
think.
he is you guys are not like, oh, you should switch to my group so you will know. You know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think we like how we kind of have a little bit of that separation in terms of, um, she has her group,
Yeah,
and has her classes, and takes classes at one studio, and I'm at another, so we can talk about capoeira and mutual things that happen, um, but still have our own space.
yeah,
And I'm
nice.
not saying it can't work if two people are in the same group, but I think for our personal situation, it's kind of nice to have something we can talk about, but also kind of have something we can do separately and together,
Yeah, yeah.
as a couple.
That's true.
So
It's like separate groups, but at the end of the day, you're still doing capoeira.
yeah, and then have the group events and the
Yeah,
others and the different things. So then you're obviously doing it together, and
you get to
yeah,
miss each other.
yeah, get to miss each other a little bit, and then look forward to playing each
Yeah,
other
yeah,
in the
exactly.
Hada, because it doesn't happen as often as you think. It's like when a Hada happens, we play each other just like playing any other person, but
Yeah,
it's important to, you know to still go out of your way to do that, and then go off on your own and train, and then come back. And I think it's a it's a cool thing that I'm happy to have in my life, be able to share that with somebody.
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, before we finish, um, we're gonna do first a game. Okay, here, like a word game. Okay, and
Okay.
so I'm gonna say a word, and whatever comes to you first to your head, you're gonna say it. Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay, and then we jump to the last question, and we can wrap it up from there.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Okay,
All
perfect.
right.
Okay, bimba,
Mestre.
berimbau,
Música.
community,
Family.
jinga.
To sway.
Which one?
To sway.
Okay. The best capoeira the best. podcast in the world.
Oh, this one right here, 100%.
There you go.
That's a no-brainer.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Manjinga.
Playful.
Nice, nice, nice. Perfect, perfect. And now for like close it now before we wrap it up. And what kind of advice would you give to any capoeiristas out there?
Give it 110%. If you want to learn capoeira, there's a lot of ways to learn, but the way you're going to get the most out of it is to give 110%. So ask yourself why you want to do capoeira, and then ask those questions. Find the people that can show you. It's important, obviously, to find a teacher that can show you, uh, and look for a community that will build you up. So, the kind of community that we're trying to build is a positive, safe, growing, kind of like all these things. And then if you're looking for a teacher, just find a group that'll kind of like help you get there. And
Yeah,
then just commit yourself to ask the questions, put in the hard work. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
yeah, yeah. No, no, nice, nice. And now this is the last question. What is your social medias again?
Okay, social media is for me, Gigante YYC. That's
Okay.
Instagram. And then for the group Capoeira Collective is calgarycapoeira.com or at Calgary Capoeira. But Gigante YYC is going to be all connected. You find one of
Nice.
us, it'll connect back to the collective, it'll go
Yeah.
back to Gigante, and then you can follow me and our group and our students and stuff like that. And
Nice.
then you can
Nice.
sort of be a part of the community.
Yeah, yeah. And I connect with you guys and probably like get in touch with you guys.
Cool. Yeah,
Nice.
100%.
Nice, nice. Well, man, thank you so much for sharing, for your time, and for sharing all your experience of it's fun doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I've listened to a couple of your podcasts, and I can tell that you ask some same questions, uh, you know, but you get such different answers. So it's like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
each story is different and interesting, and like, well, I never thought about it that way, and so I've enjoyed listening to it. And I really like how you're going out of your way. You're taking your
Thanks.
time. You could be training capoeira, you could be teaching another class, you could be doing anything right now, but you're doing this, which you're just making the community more connected. So like,
Thanks.
that's awesome. What you're
Yeah,
doing is
yeah.
great.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This kind of stuff, those words are motivating. Like because this for the community. Because the day I got the idea of the podcast, I was like, like I feel we can take advantage of the technology. Like I
Hmm.
can talk to someone in China right now and still share their experience to anyone in the world. Like someone from China can listen any experience from someone in the U.S. or South
Yeah,
America or whatever. But this for the community to the community.
100%. I think you're
Yes.
doing a great job, and it's a great idea. Um, I don't know that anyone's ever gonna get rich and live on an island paradise. Well, like from just capoeira from working, but I think that we're all gonna have a good life, being happy and
Yeah,
in
yeah, for sure.
good health
That's
and
the goal.
stuff if we train capoeira. So it's stuff like this that grows it. So yeah,
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, man. And I will talk to you soon. Okay.
obrigado.
All right. I just want to share something with you really quick. If you are listening to this and you teach or assist to a capoeira class, or even if you have an event coming up, I want to help you. I want to help our capoeira community because there's nothing more important to me than help our capoeira community. Because classes are more fun when there's more people to share this sachet, this energy is so awesome that capoeira has. So I want to share your class or event in our podcast. So reach out to us with school name or any information on how people can find you and send it to our email podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. That's podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. and I will share that information here in our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you like this podcast. If you did, take a screenshot, send it to someone that knows about capoeira or, of course, wants to learn. Share it everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everywhere. And help us grow this community with a subscribe. Thank you so much. Peace.